Welcome to episode 26 of today's Candor. I'm your host, Barika. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. In this episode, I want to further discuss the topic that I spoke on in my latest reel, which was in regards to the different type of experience that Black women face in the workplace. And I felt compelled to do an episode regarding this because I hope to shed some light on it from my perspective and maybe even provide some comfort to my beautiful Black sisters who may be experiencing something similar currently, or might have experienced this in the past and may still be coping with it. So let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. I want to start off by saying that I definitely can speak very well to this because I have experienced it in previous work environments, may even be experiencing some of it now. And I'll give an example. I'll give an example of just a previous work experience, and hopefully I can just help someone out there who may be saying, what is this, or help with putting it into perspective. So I will provide that example a little later towards the end of the episode, but let's go ahead and get right into it. I want to start off with giving a perspective that I was speaking with someone about the other day, where they asked me, why do I think that sometimes Black women are mistreated or mishandled, if you will, in the workplace? And, there could be all these different reasons and perspective and views, of course. But when I sat back and I'm just really thinking about this stuff, not even, of course, because of course, the first time I'm thinking about it is not just when I had this conversation, but it's crossed my mind a few times. And besides just some of the obvious stuff, when people create thoughts of you and notions of you and try to place you in a box, and they want you to remain in that box, understand that they want you to remain there. When people do this and they're like, okay, this person I met, that's who they are. That's the only person I want them to be. They don't have a different side to them. When people do that, they want you to stay there in that box. And if you should do anything that is outside of that box and does not align with those thoughts that they created of you, it becomes a problem. And you become a mystery. Us Black women become a mystery when this happens. And to just give a few of the attributes, excuse me, when I say, so two things, let's run it back a little bit. When I said the obvious of why Black women are mistreated or mishandled in the workplace, one of the obvious things I was, of course, stating was racism. But the other piece of it, so when a well put together Black woman, articulate, intelligent, educated, dressed nice, maybe quiet, definitely quiet. Let's take the maybe out. Quiet, like minding your business quiet. When we as Black women present ourselves this way, and I forget, professional, of course. When we as Black women present ourselves this way, of course, first in the interview, and then if you are hired, once you start the job, when we present ourselves this way, it throws people off. It throws people off. Once again, there are a few reasons for that. You have the people who wanted to put you in a box because of what they saw from you in the interview. So you were all those things I just listed out, the well put together, educated, articulate, and so on. You were all those things. And sometimes people think that if you are quiet, you are just docile and you'll just go with anything. You can be okey-doked and bamboozled and anything else under the sun. Some people are still that naive. And now that this person has placed you in this box, should you need to stand up for yourself because maybe something uncomfortable is taking place in the workplace? Should you need to stand up for yourself? Now it's like People are looking at you like, oh, well, now you've rocked the boat. We thought you were just, calm and quiet and docile. And yes, I am still the quiet and calm and chill. And I know how to keep my composure, and I'm professional. But do understand that if something is going on and I'm uncomfortable, and I don't have to come to work to be uncomfortable, and I'm talking about like real things happening. No, by all means, I'm going to stand up for myself. And if you don't view anyone else as rocking the boat or shifting your energy, if you don't view anyone else as doing those things, then don't do that to the Black woman. I keep telling people, when you're intimidated, it might not always be because the other person is actually intimidating you and doing something wrong, and it's their fault. It may not be that. It may be because you need to look at yourself, reevaluate yourself, check yourself. It may be that. It's not all the time that it's about intimidation. The Black woman should not have to be a yes woman because of this box that some of you all have put us in. That's not how it works. If anyone else can stand up for themselves, we can do the same. If anyone else can say that they're uncomfortable, or they are negotiating their pay, or they are inquiring about their increase in their pay, if anyone else can do that, if any other, if the other gender can do it, and whatever age, whatever ethnicity, whatever race, then Black women can do it too. It shouldn't have to come with, we are being intimidating, or we are being angry or mad or aggressive. No, it's none of those things. And sometimes the intimidation happens and it's not even about you standing up for yourself. It could just be, us coming to work on a day-to-day basis, doing our job, minding our business, and somehow we turn into a mystery. There is no mystery. There is nothing for you to figure out about me. Nothing. Let me come to work, do my job, do what I need to do, and go home, get paid. Why are you trying to figure us out? And of course, because there are the stereotypes that are out there. God forbid we see a beautiful, intelligent, articulate, educated, well put together, minding your business kind of Black woman. God forbid we see that, because of course the world likes to put us in this box that we are the complete opposite of that. No, you won't put us in a box. You won't categorize us. And once again, even if you aren't doing anything, it may not even be about you having to stand up for yourself. You might just be cruising through your days at work. Of course, we all have those stressful days in the workplace, but you might like the job that you do. You may be getting paid well, but you're like, hey, I'm here just doing my job. And because of how you present yourself, you're intimidating someone. And you may ask yourself, why is that? It's nothing for you. It's nothing for us. It's nothing for us to figure out. Whoever is intimidated needs to work on them. Whoever is intimidated needs to do a self-evaluation, a look in the mirror, a check-in with themselves. They need to do some journaling. They need to do some reading. It's their issue, a youism, a you issue. Don't be intimidated by me because I come to work a certain way and I present myself well. One, who I was raised by, my mother and father, the way they went to work. Well-dressed, smelling good. They're educated. Both of my parents have their degrees in accounting. They're intelligent, articulate, minding their business, going to work, just doing their jobs. And I always said mommy, and I'm speaking more so on mommy because obviously woman to woman. I always tell my mother, mommy, you were just, when you were going to work, always decked out, pretty dresses, pretty skirt and blazer sets, a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of mascara, hair all pretty because she has it in her rollers the night before, smelling good. And she would always go to work just like that, come stepping through. Mommy's not doing anything. And anybody who knows my mother, she is sweet as pie. She's not going to work, messing with anybody, in everybody's business. My mother is to herself. And once I started experiencing these things in the workplace, I said, oh, this is what mommy was talking about. And this is what I'm seeing. And this is what other Black women are experiencing. So, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because if you come into the workplace rowdy and you're nasty and you're trifling and you're ghetto and you're doing all this other stuff, right? It's damned if you do. You're just out of whack. You're unprofessional. But if you come to work the complete opposite, and because you're not boisterous and obnoxious, and you're not breaking the dress code, and you come to do your job and probably 3 other people's, because you come to work that way, it's, oh, they're a mystery. Why? Because they're not talking about everything and in everything, in everybody's business. So sometimes we're experiencing this because of who we are. We shine so bright. Our personality is so radiant. Our aura, our energy is so radiant that it's bothering somebody else. But it should be our fault, right? It should be, how dare you come into work like that? Like what? Speaking, good morning. How are you doing today? How was your weekend? Or the part about having to stand up for yourself. And you should absolutely not be afraid to do so. Of course, approach is everything, but don't be afraid. And I say that from experience. If something is going on in the workplace that you should absolutely not be experiencing, you go to someone. Of course, be careful who you go to, but you be careful, but you go to somebody. Or you do what you need to do for you. I also say, do not feel as if this is coming from a place of thinking somebody is better than anyone else. It's not about that. But as most of us are taught, if you don't think a certain way of yourself, who will? Who will? And I'm not walking into work thinking that somebody should be allowed to okey doke me. Why? But so very often we have to go through people looking. You're looking at might be looking at age, might be looking at the color of our skin, all these things, and not even might be, excuse me. You're looking at these things and it's like we have to fight and go 10 times harder to get the same positions. Have to go 10 times harder to present ourselves well because all the wrong things are harped on, not the right things, not our professionalism, not being well spoken. These things aren't harped upon. Everything, all the wrong things, all the negative things. And then when someone like me steps into the workplace, it's, why is that? Why are you looking for something wrong? Why are you faking this intimidation? So Black women, I want you to continue to keep your head up. If you are not, keep your head up. If you are not already doing so, don't let anybody steer you differently and make you think that you're doing something. Why shouldn't we be able to come into the workplace and just mind our business and do our job? And it's unfortunate. Once again, people place you into a box and they expect you to remain there because that's what makes them comfy, cozy. I don't come to work so you can be comfy, cozy. I come to work to do a job. That's why you hired me, right? So keep your heads up. Stay who you are. It's not always easy, and I understand that because it's like almost going to work and fighting, defending yourself while everybody else is getting their praises. And it happens right in front of you. Sometimes it's blatantly, and I know it's tough. Like I said, I'm speaking to this because I know. And story time, before I end this episode, what I wanted to discuss when I said that I have definitely experienced this in various workplaces, may even be experiencing it now. But in a previous workplace, I didn't necessarily have a team. My job was solo, and I had a million and one things on my plate. But surely the people who were so enthused about hiring me, especially because there were some white males on that panel. In my interview, like I said, I was very professional and I was articulate, and they knew I was educated, and I was speaking to my resume, and these people were so enthused to hire me. Great. So glad. And then once I started to get my rhythm and I'm feeling good about the job and all the things, it's literally like the script just flipped. These same people who sat on my interview, and there were white males, there were white females, these same people, it was like night and day. And it's like, oh, but what's the issue? Because I'm the same person I was on that interview, right? So why are we now in our feelings? Because I'm in the workspace with you and you asked me to create a process and I did just that. And now you want to act like you're tolerating me. Because that's the other thing I want to point out, is that it's almost as if people think they are tolerating us. You're not tolerating us. We are here to do the same thing that anyone else is doing, a job. So it was like night and day. And when I got into that workspace and like I said, I got into my rhythm and my groove, and I felt like I was doing my thing. I was creating this process that they so desperately needed, did not have one, didn't even have the first step to it. And it's almost like once I created that process for them, it was like all hell broke loose. Don't get what you need from me and then think that you're going to treat me like trash, because I promise you won't get the last laugh. That was not a place where I wanted to stay, so I made my move. And that's why I said sometimes you make your move because you know you don't belong in a certain environment, and I knew I didn't belong there. But don't let anyone push you out of somewhere that you feel you do belong. Trust your instinct, trust your gut. If you feel like you belong in that workspace, stay there and do your thing. But don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. And of course, nobody wants to go to work and have to, fight every day and build their case and do all of that. But if you feel like you are somewhere where you're doing great work and you're making an impact and you love what you do, and if you can find a way to stay there, if you can. But I also say, do not stress yourself out and be miserable, because at the end of the day, you have to take care of you. You have to take care of you. Black women, we have to take care of us. We have to take care of each other, because to some others, we are viewed as being at the bottom of the totem pole, and we are absolutely not. And don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. So as always, I appreciate you all for continuing to follow, like, and share, and just supporting the podcast. I know this one was a little heavier than my normal episodes, but it was necessary. It was necessary. Something I had been thinking about discussing for a while. And the fact that a few things had been popping up in my mind, and the fact that I had a conversation about it not too long ago, I said, it's time to do this episode. So let's get it done. So thank you once again for tuning in. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay candid.